Today we'll be making a recipe out of Wild Game Cooking Made Easy, copyright 1997. We are making pheasant in a red sea bag. This is an attempt to use the pheasant that I was gifted. The first thing we need to do is dismember a pheasant. Here is our lovely pheasant. It was free to me from my brother-in-law. It is wildly sourced, so there is probably birdshot in here somewhere. I'm gonna get a paper towel to put under here because it's so bloody. Oop. Yep, I'm just putting paper towels around the cutting board so it absorbs some of the blood. It's been slowly bleeding in my refrigerator over the last couple days. We need the breast of the pheasant for this recipe, so let me take a look here. There is the bone there for the top of the rib cage. So I'm using a paring knife and slowly cutting along that bone, that like breastbone there. And I'm just trying to keep as close to the bone as possible. I'm going to go to this side and kind of do the same thing. I can kind of feel the rib bone here, so I'm going to make a little incision. I'm going to now go from the top here. It looks like this is where the wing would have been. And kind of do the same thing, keeping my knife as close to the bone as possible. I can feel it scraping along the bone. I don't want to cut through any bone because I don't want bone in my pheasant breast. When I hit bone, like it feels like it's snagging on it, I'll lift my knife up and try again. There we go. I think that's a mostly intact pheasant breast. Could be a little better, but I'm going to put that off to the side and try again over here. Pretty much doing the same thing. I like to cut from the wing down towards the legs. When you look at this side, the bones kind of flow in that direction. So I think it just gives you a better cut to do it that way. You're trying to leave as much bone and cartilage behind as you can while trying to get as much meat as you can. Like, take that a little straight. Perfect. All right, so that is done. I'm going to throw the rest of this pheasant in a freezer bag. Maybe use the rest of him later to make stock or something. We need to cut the pheasant breast in half. It doesn't say which way, so I'm going to go long way here. I think that's going to give us the more even pieces. After I'm done cutting them, I'm going to take them to the sink and wash them off because there's still some feather and stuff on there. That will also give me a good chance to kind of feel the breasts for any birdshot that might be left in there. I have washed the extra feathers off of our pheasant here. I checked for birdshot. I didn't see any. That doesn't mean there's not any left behind. I went ahead and double bagged it here. We're going to now kind of pound it out. It says to beat it into about 1/2 inch thickness. I don't think we're too far away from that, so it shouldn't take me too long. For our next step, I'm going to lay out our little strips of pheasant now. Do have a little like extra piece. I might Put that on some of these smaller ones, like that. Great. After we have flattened our pheasant, the next step here is to sprinkle half a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning on each pheasant breast. I'm using this Creole seasoning. I have a lot of it. I don't know. I guess I can't tell what ounces mean when I'm ordering groceries online. So we'll hopefully be using this at some other point because I have a lot. Half a teaspoon on each of our little breasts here. You might have used bigger breasts for his recipe because that looks like a lot for these little guys, but my husband and I can handle some spice, so. Our next step is to make little pheasant roll-ups. I'm going to make myself a little bit of room here. I'm just going to roll on here so I don't make a bigger mess. It says to top with a slice of provolone and a slice of ham. I don't know that I like that order. I'm going to flip it over because they're going to want us to roll it into cylinder. So maybe like that. I don't know. It just says roll into cylinder. So rolling them hot dog style I think is going to be the easiest. I think I'm going to lay down the provolone and the ham and then just move the pheasant chunk on top and kind of roll like that. I think that's going to be the easiest way. I think if we try and roll it up like that, it's going to be too difficult with how the pheasant is. Okay, next step is to set these to the side. I have cut the tops off and taken the seeds out of the 4 bell peppers you see here, the 4 red peppers. It appears that this is the red sea bag part of this recipe. I don't know why this recipe is called this. I think they just got creative. So, like I said, seeds gone, tops taken off. The next step is to put half a teaspoon of olive oil in each pepper. I don't have olive oil. I have avocado oil, so that's what I'll be using instead. Our olive oil is in. By olive oil, I mean avocado oil. I'm going to move these around a little bit. It's probably hard to see, but all the oil, it just kind of goes into all of one of these little bottoms here. So I'm just going to move them around so it's well distributed. These are a little wrinkly. They've been in my fridge for a while, but I'm sure they're still perfectly fine. Okay, avocado oil in. Our next step is to place one of our little pheasant cylinders into each pepper. I did end up re-rolling our little pheasant rolls kind of the other way so that they'll fit in here because they're supposed to fit inside the peppers, allegedly. Sliced red onion, so I kind of sliced them like that. I don't know if that's what they wanted. They said to fill the outside of the pepper, so between the pepper and so between the pepper and the pheasant roll here, just shove some red onion down in there. I don't know, I guess something like that. We'll do that with the other 4. Here's our stuffed peppers. The next step is to top them off with chicken stock. It says we need 1 cup for the whole recipe. It looks like we're supposed to put 1/4 of a cup roughly in each pepper. I don't think we should be doing this part of this recipe until after the next step, but That's not what it says. It says to do it now. So I just measured out our full cup here, and I'm just kind of going through and topping them off. They're pretty full. Like, there's liquid to the top, so I don't think I can get any more in. I might pour the rest of the chicken stock in the bottom for when we cook these. Okay, let me clean up my area and then we'll go to the next step. So if we were to actually follow this recipe, we would not be using this. I will not be able to eat our pheasant for a little bit longer. It says to cook them for an hour and a half. When meat is fork tender, then you can remove them. You're supposed to bake them in the oven for 350 for an hour and a half. I am going to be gone a little bit longer than that, and this is the only day I have to make this recipe. So we will be breaking out my lovely casserole crock pot. I think it will do about the same. Okay, it says we need to fill the bottom of this with our other ingredients and then put the peppers on top of that. So we need the remaining red onion. I'm going to break those up a little bit and make sure they're spread pretty evenly here along the bottom. Then we need 1 cup of diced carrots. I buy bulk carrots from Walmart because we make shepherd's pie a lot, and I just cut them up and freeze them. So I did defrost some of those and kind of slice those up a little bit better. So spread those out pretty good along there. The next thing we need to add is 1 green pepper. It says diced into 1/2 inch, so that's probably not perfect, but it's probably close enough. I'll spread that out evenly in there. I do have a little bit left over of the chicken stock, like I said, so we'll probably try to use that up here shortly. After all these are in the casserole dish, you're supposed to put your little red peppers right on top. I'm going to kind of space them out, like stair step them like that. Now that they're in here, I'm going to try and pour a little bit more of the chicken stock on them. And then if they overflow, it just goes into the bottom of the casserole dish. There we go. It's going to be a few hours before I can get back to these, so I think I'm going to put them on low for now. When we get back, if they're not looking great, we can turn it up to high for a little while. It says to cover them, so I'm going to put our lid on. It touches them a little bit. I don't think that's an issue. All right, our peppers are in here. I'm going to lock the lid in place. It has these little travel handles on it so that the lid stays when you're moving with it. But that way, no animals try to get into it. I'm going to then move it towards the center of my island so that no animals accidentally catch the cord or roll into it and knock it off. They're cooking. My crock pot's warming up. Per Martha Stewart, 1 hour of stovetop or oven cooking at 350 is roughly 4 to 6 hours on low of a slow cooker. 1 to 2 hours on high. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put it on high, and then before I leave, so in about an hour, I'll set it to low. And we'll see what happens. I do believe these are done. I think roughly they were on low for 2 hours, high for 2 hours. Keeping track of time is not really my strong suit, so that's probably close.